Hey, I'm here in Summer Project in New York City, and we're all kind of sharing about our own spiritual journeys and our walks. I grew up in a really loving family of six, two older sisters and one older brother, and two parents that were really involved in my life and really loved me. We grew up in the church. We were always there 3 times a week. Twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday. My parents were really involved in the church. My dad was an elder and a deacon. Us kids were always involved in the youth group. And despite always being in the church and always hearing about God and stuff like that and faith, I always looked at him as kind of a judge that kind of sat up and was away from the world and looked, and if you followed this list of rules, then you pass and you go to heaven. If you don't follow them, then you fail and you go to hell. And as a result of that, I found my sense of being and worth in my own morality and how I obeyed those rules, and in my own intellect, grades in school and stuff like that, and my own, my physical self and how I looked, or how I performed in some, athletic event or something like that. But that was, kind of my life growing up, as a youth. And then I got into college. I experimented with the typical college life. I had some friends that, were doing the same. And then one day, one of my roommates invited me to come to a Bible study with a group on campus called Campus Crusade for Christ. They were like an on-campus ministry. And I got involved with them, and that's when I finally, I heard the gospel about God presented in a completely different light than I had before. He was no longer God the judge, but he was God, my father, and God my dad, and he was a creator who was involved in my life and really loved me. And they talked about how, God sent his son, down on this earth to live a perfect life and to ultimately be sacrificed. He sacrificed his son's life for me. And so, where I didn't measure up in my morality and me trying to follow all those rules, he took the place of that. And he kind of paid that debt that I owed in my rebellion to God. And so after I finally placed my faith in that and trusted in that and trusted in God and who he was and who he is, my life has just been, it's been unreal. I still make mistakes, and sometimes it's still hard and it still sucks, but I know that he was always there. I have a purpose, and I know that he has a will for me, he has a plan for me. I can focus on him. I can finally have that relationship that I was created to have, with my father and, my dad up in heaven. And I know that ultimately, I'll be with him for an eternity. Once I die, whenever that may be, I know, I have faith in that and I have hope in that. And so yeah, it's a little bit about my story, about my life. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. You can shoot me a message, and I'll be glad to talk to you. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.